Hello and welcome back again to my channel. My name is Heather and I'm a full-time reseller. Thank you for joining me on this disgusting humid day because again it is too hot to film in my car, so the intro is going to be in my amazing backyard. And oh, what nature sounds do we hear today? Random beeping that may or may not be from an Amazon truck or a FedEx truck. You decide. My last video was strictly RA and it did pretty well. This video is going to be mostly thrift with a little RA at the end. You have to understand that I'm not just an Amazon seller. I thrift pretty consistently as well. So if you're only here for RA, please don't leave. And if you're just doing Amazon, maybe you can see that thrifting can provide some dollars as well. If you're just doing thrift, maybe you'll see that you should do some Amazon stuff as well. You can definitely marry the two and have a successful business that's a blend of both. When I decide to film a video for you guys end up being a good luck charm for me. So let's hope that rings true today. I'm gonna go to two thrift stores. One's really good, one's kind of not. And then I'm gonna stop at a discount grocery store at the end because it's nearby. They usually sell expired food, which is not great for resale, but they also have a health and beauty section and a cleaning supply section. And I do occasionally find some scores there to sell. It's probably gonna start raining again, so I should get out of here. So let's get to the thrifting. Jumping right into it, we're gonna start with the dolls. Normally I pass on la-di-da dolls because they're not worth much, but this one new in box is uncommon and worth about $30. Dollhouse dolls and furniture can be a really good category. These kind of strike me as an off-brand, but they are vintage and new in box, so they're gonna be worth looking up. I couldn't find a comp for this exact family, but I did find favorable comps for other Dollhouse family products. So that plus the knowledge that Dollhouse stuff normally does well for me, I'm definitely gonna pick these up. For $1.50, I really couldn't say no to a complete Bratz boys outfit with some sort of poster. You can ID the doll it came off of and sell it as a replacement set, or if you sell a lot of dolls, you can save it and wait until you find a naked doll to dress up. If you've watched my doll videos, you might recognize this as a My Scene doll, which is like Barbie's answer to Bratz. If it's cheap, I don't really bother looking it up because most of the time it's worth it. She's missing her remote, but she still comps at about $20 to $40, but I thought I could do better. Until I got home and saw this. Normally I can get permanent marker off of dolls, but nothing worked to get this unibrow off. Not pure acetone, none of my tricks, nothing. Did I still end up beating the comps? You bet. Just goes to show you that if something is rare enough, it doesn't matter if it's damaged. And on that note, I find another damaged doll. Excuse me, action figure. This is a vintage 1978 Migos Superman. I don't come across Migos often, but when I do, I look them up. I would have to find comps as a naked doll because I don't think the outfit has much value at this point. In this case, the naked figure still had value, and I could even just sell the boots if I wanted to, so I decided to grab him. Then I was minding my own business contemplating the name Spicy Shelf when a cart emerged from the back room and something told me I should drop everything and follow it. Naturally, I was not the only one who took notice and there was a feeding frenzy, so I grabbed a few things that I thought looked valuable and scurried away to comp them. Of course, this ended up being used, and the used ones are not worth anywhere near as much as the new in box ones, so I put this one back. But that's okay because my second pull off the cart ended up being a big win. I didn't immediately know what was in the bag when I grabbed it, but I had a feeling it was probably a camcorder, and I was right. A Sony Digital Handycam TRV 140. Camcorders can be kind of a pain if they don't come with a charging cable or a battery. This one has both of those things plus a blank tape, so I don't need to buy a single additional thing to test this. I didn't get a shot of the price, but it was only $10, and it comps over $100 every time it sells. Let's take a little detour and talk about it some more. The handles on these are almost always flaking because that's what this fake leather stuff kind of does. It's not really a big problem. Surprisingly, the battery did hold a charge just fine and I had no problem recording with it. This is what your girl and Ori looks like in glorious standard definition. It also has this really cool night shot mode. That's a feature you want to look for on these Sony camcorders because it tends to make them worth more money. It's usually a switch somewhere on the camera, so just take a look around for it. The camera sold pretty quickly for $150. After shipping and fees, I made $94.52. Dropping everything and following that cart was the right decision. Once the crowd dispersed, I came back to the cart to see if I had missed anything. If you just look at the brand and turn it over and find the date, you can make a reasonably good assumption at what the laptop might be worth. 7-year-old Acer missing the charger, that's gonna be a no. For some reason, this thrift always has a bunch of paints and stains for sale. While none of these are worth money, certain Czar stains can be worth money, and I have found those here before. But the real good wood products you want to look for are Formby's brand. Once common, they are now discontinued and hard to find, and people still want them. So if you find some, you've probably found some money. I bid farewell to the cart and turned my attention to vacuum land. As you saw in my last thrifting video, I like to flip vacuum attachments. In this case, it's a Hoover carpet cleaning set that's for like upholstery or stairs. You can sell just the big spinny brush head for $25 or the whole set for $50. There was no price on it, and when I got to the register, she just kind of looked at me and said, $2? And I said, that's fine by me. The worst part of buying vacuum attachments is cleaning vacuum attachments because they're always dirty. But it's required. If you want top dollar, you gotta clean them out. I mean, would you want to buy something with someone else's dog hair and crap stuck to it? I wouldn't. Sometimes the prices just don't work in your favor. This Logitech keyboard was basically new and looks like it can sell for about $50. I'm not really interested in paying $20 for something I can sell for maybe $50 with free shipping. I won't double my money after shipping and fees, so for me this is a pass. Who remembers Tony Little's Gazelle commercials? That guy had to have been on coke. Anyway, look at all the bikes. I've never seen this many bikes at a thrift store. It's a great place to come if you want a deal. I don't really flip bikes, but I do want to turn my attention to these exercise bikes. And I only know this because my parents used to have one, but Schwinn Airdyne bikes, like these ones with the cage and the fan on the front, can be worth money if you're willing to haul it home and sell it on Marketplace or something. This particular fan bike is not a Schwinn though, and it has already sold. Leaving that section and heading into the knickknacks and kitchenware section. I didn't end up finding anything in this room. There was a lady who was like, you look young. How many Harry Potter movies are there supposed to be? And she's like holding a handful of DVDs. And it doesn't matter if I know the right answer to something. If somebody just comes out of nowhere and asks me a question, I'm gonna be like, I was like, I don't know. She's like, oh, you're young, you're supposed to know. I don't know what to tell you. I guess I'm a bad millennial because I don't like Harry Potter that much. They also have this super neat craft room with a ton of yarn. I've seen some of my Instagram friends have success with yarn, but I still don't really know anything about that category. I do know that sealed latch hook kits do well though. I've sold plenty of those over the years. The more interesting subject matter, the better. My last 3 latch hook sales have all been through Mercari. I don't know much about sewing patterns either, but I do know one thing to look for, and that would be Issei Miyake Vogue patterns. I did find one last year and I sold it for $40. That's really the only piece of sewing pattern knowledge I have. I really should do more research on the category. Can we all agree that some things don't need to be donated? I don't think money should exchange hands for any bath mat that is this used, but that's just me. Skylanders are another thing that my brain refuses to hold information on. I do know that the guy with a bow and arrow is good, as well as complete sets of traps and Chompy Mage, but there are so many little variants that are worth money that I just can't keep track of them all. The toy section was pretty sparse, but then I noticed this Blitzball bat. This was a reel that I scrapped for my Instagram, but now I have the perfect excuse to post it. They're normally around $10 a piece, but I found a display of them for $2.50 at a local Walmart. I bought every single one and sent them into FBA for $30. I managed to sell out of all of them before they became widespread at every Walmart and showed up on Walmart.com, so it was like the perfect threading of the needle. Maybe I'll have better luck with the plush. This is the same store I once pulled an entire cart of Stitch plushes out of. But I dug, and dug, and dug some more. But I didn't find a single one worth buying, which is super unusual here. I'm glad I stopped at the dolls when I did, because on my way back through I noticed a couple people with cell phones out digging through everything. This store doesn't have a showcase, but it does have a case that they put stuff for auction and occasionally stuff for sale in. Naturally, this is where they stick all the video game systems and everything that they think is worth money. Not sure what's valuable about a bin full of vintage matchbooks, but I definitely understand the Pyrex. Very surprised to see not 1 but 2 Generation Girl Chelsea dolls brand new in the box. Although somebody managed to get $150, $100 is more in the realm for these. They want $45, which isn't terrible, but I'm gonna wait for a half off day and see if I can get them for less. If you watched my last thrifting video, this Kirby set should look familiar. This time it's in an auction with a vacuum though, and I don't really mess with vacuums that much. I just had to take a second and come admire this Nintendo, even though I know as soon as I open the auction book, it's gonna be overpriced. If it doesn't smell like smoke and the outer box isn't completely beat up, maybe $250 to $300. Castlevania 3 is gonna be the best game at about $45, the other ones are kinda hit or miss. It makes me miss the good old days of thrifting when we could just walk into a thrift store and find this kind of stuff all the time. No cherry picking, no auctions, none of that. Another thing right up my alley are these vintage Kenner strawberry shortcake dolls. At first glance they look like they might be new in box, but they're definitely not, and the boxes themselves are kind of beat up. I'm thinking at best you could get $30 a piece, but there are quite a lot here. Let's consult the bid book. The way it works here is there's no time limit. As soon as somebody else places a bid, it adds 7 more days to the auction time. So there's no strategy or sniping or anything, you just have to hope that nobody bids against you for a whole week. The Nintendo is up to $210, which is not an attractive price for me. The strawberry shortcake dolls just started, so that auction's going to be going for a while most likely. The Horizon Blue Pyrex is up to $85, which is about where a 3-piece set sells for on eBay, so nothing really worth bidding on, but I will keep an eye on the strawberry shortcake dolls next time I come in. That was it for this stop, and I got in the checkout line where I noticed these $20 Carhartt Force t-shirts, like used t-shirts. You can get them for half as much on eBay. Once I was done checking out, I got in my car and went down the street to the next thrift stop. If this wasn't so close to the last one, I would literally never stop here because I have yet to find anything that has made the stop worth it. This thrift store is a little on the cluttered side, which means you have to dig to find anything good. I love Treasure Planet. I don't know what I'm looking at here though. Why does this give me the vibes of a guy who's taking their mom to prom? DVD recorders, especially older ones, are very picky about the kind of discs they like to use. So if you tried testing one and you get a disc read error, don't immediately think it's broken. Try some lower write speed discs like this 4x or up to 16x. I pick up old blank discs as I find them, but I have plenty right now, so I'm not going to grab these. It wouldn't be a cluttered type thrift store without a pile of electronics and a bin full of tangled cords. Are you starting to see why I don't like this place that much? They have some older PC games, kind of priced on the high side, but on further inspection it does look like I probably should have bought this one. Looks like I could have sold just that manual book for $25, but the cell reception was so bad in here I completely missed the comp. I know if they've got their box they're probably pretty good, but now I've learned that if they have their manual, that might be worth it too. I think the other reason I don't like this store much is they don't really have health and beauty. What they have, you're looking at. The toy section is no less cluttered and unfortunately mostly like big toddler toys that I don't really deal in. They didn't even have any dolls worth grabbing, but at least I had some to pick through. I don't want to hear any crap about resellers anymore because look at all the stuff they have to go through. You've seen how cluttered it is in here, they barely have room to fit more stuff and yet they have a whole back room full. This is the reality for most thrift stores. They have more donations than they can handle. We should be happy that somebody's buying it and it's not going to the landfill. I didn't ask to be born into this capitalistic hellscape, so I'm just going to do the best I can. That's it for this store. Let's move on to a little arbitrage, shall we?
Some thrift stores just require too much digging for me, and the prices aren't necessarily worth the dig. So this thrift store has rarely produced anything for me. And that's just the way some of them are. You get to know which ones are worth the stop and which ones aren't.
This place is like a thrift store but for food. A place for things to get a second chance to be sold before being scrapped. So if you're frugal and looking for a deal or just care about the environment, I highly recommend finding a store like this. Besides fantastic deals on food, you can also find health and beauty sometimes. Or in this case, some familiar finds. This will definitely be known as the summer of off clip-on fans and refills. The resale prices have taken a dip since my last video, which is pretty predictable, but I'm still gonna grab these anyway. Let's marvel at this absolutely ancient one. I'm also gonna grab these uncommon Burt's Bees balms for $2.79. They expire in October, so I gotta get them moved fast. They were at $15.99 when I scanned them, but have since dropped to $10, which is super annoying. Remember last video when I said keep an eye out for Shea Men's products with this blue label? There's a good reason for that because these also sell really well. I was pulling these out of grocery stores at the end of last year and selling them for $30 to $40 a piece, and I sold over 56 of them. They've since gone up to $50 a piece on eBay, and the last person to sell them on Amazon got $65.99. I mean, at the time I thought $40 was really good, but look what would have happened if I had just held maybe 6 months. This one, however, had a snapped off cap, so I'm happy to get $35 on eBay. And I just about passed out when I found these because I was selling them back when they were maybe $30 and they have since gone up to $50 a piece on eBay and $70 a piece on Amazon. One last decent find, and it's not expired. Specifically, it needs to be the continuous control cleaner. These sell for $30 on eBay or almost $50 on Amazon. I'm all done here and I'm going to do one more surprise stop at CVS where I find some profitable Raid sprays. These should look familiar from last video, but if you forgot, a 2-pack of refills sells for $100 or you can sell the trigger by itself for $55.
Transition, I am outside of my next video that'll be coming up, so if you want to see that, it's going to be RA and it's coming up soon. I don't have any sort of release schedule, so the best way to find out about my videos is to hit subscribe and you will see them hopefully pop up in your homepage when I release something. You'll also want to follow my Instagram if you have an Instagram page, because it's like little micro doses of my YouTube content, because I post this type of things I'm buying and selling in my daily stories. And I also post reels and all that good stuff. If you're still here, leave me a like. If you're excited for the next video, let me know, and I'll see you next time. Get out there, have fun, and find something good.